post-grad is the ghetto and I'm ready and waiting for it to get gentrified.
Why you gotta be trying to be doing me like that? And you calling, you texting, you wanting this back.
Hello. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here today, even though it's my first episode. I'm going to start with a little story because one, it's funny, and two, it actually has been on my mind all week. So last weekend, my little cousin, Liam, is my baby. That's my little munchkin. He turned 5, which is crazy because you're basically an adult. We had his 5th birthday party at Sky Zone, which is a trampoline park. And he has 2 older siblings, my other little cousins. And so I get there late and I'm like, let's go jump before this wraps up. So we go to jump, they have the obstacle courses, they got the slides, everything, right? And naturally there's a bunch of kids. And then there's me acting like one of them. And so we go to the obstacle course. And again, a bunch of little kids, probably some other little girl at a birthday party. And so it's this girl and her friend and little white girl, funny as can be. And her friend, very, very quiet. I didn't hear the friend say nothing the whole time. And so me and my cousin are going through the obstacle course, and it was low key. It was dragging. It was getting me. And I'm like, let's go on either side. There's like 2 different sides, obviously. Let's go on either side, try it out together. And that ish was crazy. Like it was giving me a run for my money. And so I get on the other side of the first part, and the little girl comes, and her friend is right behind her, and she's like hyping us up, like she's being a hype man, and she's like, oh my god, y'all got this, you can do this. And she's so funny because she really made me miss working with kids. Like they're so funny, bro. So me and my cousin are like, okay, thank you, like you got this too, girl. So we finish, and she gets on the one that I was just on, that was again minking me. She gets on there and she flings back and she's like, Lord mercy. Me and my cousin look at each other and we bust out laughing because what do you mean, Lord mercy? Like this girl had to be 3rd grade tops. Like she couldn't be no older than like 8 years old. And so, kids like to cling. She starts following us around as we go through the rest of the obstacle course. And so there's this one with ropes, like the rope ladder, and you climb up, and then there was nothing on the other side. It was just on the other side. It was the landing piece and then ropes hanging, and they had like the ones with like circles and like, the ones like the acrobats be having, like those, and then the actual just regular hanging rope. My little cousin went on it first, and she was like, oh Lexi, this is scary, like I can't do this, I can't get to the top. And from the bottom it don't look that high. So I'm like, girl, if you don't climb to the top and swing on a rope and get to the other side like Tarzan. And she's like, okay, then you come up here and do it. You know what, I think I will. I said, bet, let's go, because I'm not backing down from a challenge, especially at a kid's obstacle course. Come on now. So I get my big 22-year-old self on the ladder, and I'm climbing, and I'm like, oh, why is it getting a little steep, a little high? And so I get to the top, and I'm like, whoa. And she's like, yeah, exactly. And so I get to the top, I'm like, what am I supposed to do now? I can't swing on this thing. Like I couldn't get no grip. Like my arms and legs are tired. I was like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do from here? Little Sally Mae comes, and she's like, you've got this. I know it looks really scary. It looks really scary up there, but you're at the top and you have to just get over it. Like, I know it's scary, but you just have to either just let go and jump, or you have to swing on the thing. Those are your options, and it's going to be okay. I did it too. And she's motivating me, right? And I'm like, little Samantha, little do you know, you are preaching right now, because how many times in life do we see things and we're like, from another perspective, from in a different season, maybe you're looking at somebody else and you're the one who's not in the situation, and you're like, oh, that's not hard, that's not bad. And then you get up there yourself, or it's a new season, and you're like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do? And she was gassing me. She was like, oh, you got this. But eventually she got kind of fed up because I still didn't know what to do. And she was like, you just have to get over it. You just got to just go. And I was like, girl, let me find out, Susie, that you're wise beyond your years. So I want to start with that story and officially welcome you to Read the Room with your host, Alexis Reed. And y'all, I'm so excited to share this with y'all. I have been working on this for a while and we'll get into that. And this will be a bit of an introductory episode, but fear not, because you'll still be able to take away something by the end of this, I hope. Like I said, if you don't know me, my name is Alexis. A little bit about me: I'm 22 years old. I'm from New Orleans, born and raised. I'm currently in New Orleans right now. And I just graduated college in May. And anyone who knows post-grad, leaving something, whatever, young adulthood, it's the ghetto. Post-grad is the ghetto, and I'm ready and waiting for it to get gentrified. So in this season, I wanted to do something with myself, basically. And a podcast is actually something that God had put on my heart in the beginning of 2021. And I'm just coming to the point now where I'm sharing it with the people of the world and you all. But just know that this is something that's been weighing on me heavy for 2 years now. And every year I start the year with intentions and goals and vision, really. And it's a hard reset for me. So I fast, I take a step back from social media. I really think and spend time with God about, what I want to do that year, how I see things being, and setting the goal for myself to achieve it, and the steps and the whole shebang, right? And so at the beginning of 2020, I did that. And he very clearly had told me to do a podcast. And I was like, you know what? Like, yeah, that sounds cute. But realistically, at the time, I was in the middle of college. I was very involved in college. I did a lot of leadership. I had multiple jobs. I had a really good community. So realistically, I did not have the time or capacity to put into a podcast that I knew I would have wanted to put into it for it to be to my standard. So I kind of put it on the back burner for a minute. And honestly, I was being so fulfilled with the things going on around me in school and what I was doing, that I knew a podcast would just kind of be like a side quest for me, and it wouldn't have really been anything that I needed to like really, really pour into me. But like I said, now I'm graduated, and anybody who's ever been in school, whether you graduate from high school, college, has something consistent for a few years and then it just ends, it stops very abruptly, and it's very disorienting. Over the summer, I had all this time and I was taking time to rest because I thought I was going to grad school this fall, and I'm not. I'm going to grad school next fall though, and that'll be a different story for a different time and the details of that. But I'll take a step back, I'll rest, and I'll focus on grad school, getting into grad school, moving to Arizona because I'm going to ASU. What's it? Period. Yeah. And so I'll get into this maybe, when I go to Arizona. And then that didn't happen. So I'm like, okay, I have all this time and opportunity now. I have all the space in the world. I don't have a job. I'm not doing all the things that I was doing before. So like I can really now take the time to cultivate this and pursue this. And not only that, but I read the room and saw that there was a real desire that needed to be filled in people's hearts, because everyone I talked to, everyone I connected with, whether they had just graduated, whether they were just in transition in their life, or this summer I feel like everybody was going through something so drastic. It was insane. Like my friends, people I went to school with, whatever, like so much stuff had happened to people personally this summer, whether it be breakups, diagnosis, losing jobs, like whatever. Like people were really like in the trenches this summer. And so every time I talk to somebody and we are actually able to connect and share feelings and see each other emotionally, that is, they always said, well, we both always said, oh my God, it feels so good to connect with people. It feels so good to have this space and like be able to talk and hash this out with you. And I was like, what if I create that venue and space for people to be able to experience that beyond like the people I talk to or check in with? Like, how does that look to have a space where there's community and people can feel seen? Because I have great, wonderful friends, creme de la creme, top tier friends. I'm gonna talk about my friends all the time. I love my friends. I love my community. And I have good family too. I have a big family. I love them so much. and they helped me a lot and influenced me a lot. And so I was like, I know how important that is for me, and I'm grateful for it because I know not everyone has that, or maybe not everyone has solid friends in a certain season of their life, or maybe people have people around them physically, family around them physically, who they just do not feel comfortable with to actually express themselves or be real with them and be like, yo, this is what's actually going on with me. And so I wanted to be able to create that space where people can come and hash out those feelings, feel seen, feel, oh, I didn't even know I had those feelings, or like I didn't have words to put to it, and you just gave them to me. And I want this to just have impact, whether it's one person or 1,000 people, it does not matter. Like, if this can touch somebody, my job is done. My goal is met. It is out of my hands. So I this is, why I'm here. And I don't know what your situation is. Maybe you don't look like me. Maybe you never even been to school. Maybe you didn't go to college. And maybe you just are trying to figure things out and trying to find your footing, and you're in transition. Or even if you're content and you're in a good spot in your life, then cool. This can be for you too, because I'm going to talk about things as far as relationships with my family, my friends, people around me, my community, the experiences I've had in my life. Because even though I'm only 22, I feel like I've experienced or like have so many different like just great things happen, and really just like unique things happen that I don't have people around me to, I don't want to say talk about it with, but I don't really see representation for. And I would like to be that for somebody else who's younger, and they can have a face to put to a name and be like, oh my God, like I didn't have that before, but now I do. Because I know there's certain things in my life I still don't see that I need as a grown, grown adult that was a misstep. As a young adult, I am not grown. I'm very much baby. Like anyways, woof, that scared me. And so, really, I want this to be a community to process with, to feel with, to truly engage beyond the typical culture conversations or stuff that we see on social media, and really just have the space to explore the nuance of everything. Like I always say, stuff is so layered. And I even watch my own podcasts and people that I like, and they can be good. It can have substance. And I still see gaps. I'm like, oh, I wish it would have talked about that. Or, oh, like I want X, Y, and Z perspective to be brought up. Or, oh, like I would love to hash this out with somebody and have a conversation around it because they didn't address it. So I really want this to be a place that expresses all of that and does it with wisdom and love and grace. And this is going to be the space to do that. And I want it to also be reflective of the feelings that I'm having and going through, of conversations that I'm having with people around me, again, that I love, and the nuances of this daily walk of life, and hope that it can encourage people. It can invite people into being more vulnerable and think more critically about things and about life, because again, there's so many layers to things, and I don't think everything should just be taken for what it looks like on the surface, or what is portrayed to us or handed to us in the media, or not even in the media, just in in your family, in your life, in your spheres of influence. Like I have learned to challenge everything pretty much mentally, or think about it in a more critical way, or the roots of a lot of stuff. And I want to invite people to do the same, because let's use those analyzation skills that we learned. Let's get to it. So with that though, I also want people to simultaneously feel seen and feel heard and feel represented, or feel not so isolated or lonely. So because of this podcast, and because my goal at the end of the day is we all want to feel seen, that's what any human wants, I want to actually share my story, a little bit of how I even got to this point, and that's going to be around the topic today, because here I am 2 years later with all the time and opportunity and capacity to do this and do it well, but it was not always like that. And will it be to my standard? No, not right now. Will I know everything? I already don't. If y'all could have seen me wrestle with this equipment and everything, this setup, and getting here today, you do not be fooled. Please do not be fooled. We're working this out together. And you know what? I'm fine with it. I've come to the place where I can accept it. I'm fine with it now. Is the industry oversaturated? Yes, but they're not me. Will I probably still hyperanalyze and overthink a lot and try to think myself out of a lot? Baby, it's already done. I've already done that so many times. But am I going to be obedient and start somewhere? Absolutely. And that's what I want to get into today. So the topic today is going to be about starting where you are and working with what you got. Because right here, we don't have a lot. This mic, not mine. The only thing mine is the phone that I'm recording on and this computer and the hope and the dream. So we're going to get into that. And I'm going to start with 2 separate accounts, which was also more confirmation for me on like I need to do this. But firstly, and this is the one that really catapulted me into wanting to be more intentional about this, because I brainstormed a lot, I wrote a lot. I, again, had the vision for this, played around with different names for it, what I want the topics to be, what I want to talk about. I even practiced like recording throughout the last couple years. And again, that's just ideas, it's planning. I'm a planner. I love to plan and research and know so it can be perfect pretty much, or as perfect as I can get it. And then I'm like, okay, now I can actually go about it, but I want to know what the hell I'm getting into first. And so I had a conversation with my TD in September. And if you don't know what a TD is, it's an auntie, my mama's sister. I didn't know TD was I thought that was like a black people thing at first, like calling your auntie TD. But apparently it's like very much like a New Orleans thing too. So I did not realize that until I went to college. But I'm going to talk about my TD a lot because I love that woman. Such a huge impact on me. Has supported me so much. Really like my second mother for real. So I went to lunch with my TD in September, and we were talking and everything. And my family has a salon. We have family business. Woo, that's something else you now have learned about me. And we have an upstairs part of the salon, and it's just like this big space, right? Everybody in the family at one point or another probably had a birthday party there. I had my 13th birthday party there, 12th birthday party there. My sister had her sweet 16 there. We had Thanksgiving there multiple times. Just so, like that space gets used because it's a big space. And my TD was telling me that there was this lady who was interested or like she rented it out, whatever. And when she saw it, she was like, "Yo, like you need to promote this more, because they don't put it out there, they don't advertise it." So she was like, you can really do a lot with this. And my TD was talking about, they started throwing around ideas and considering making it like a maker space, or putting it in sections and cubicles or different themes, and people can go there to basically create content or record things, just work, whatever. And that is something that I know a lot of other cities have, a lot of other like big cities have. But New Orleans does not have a lot of things like that. And if we do, and if you're from New Orleans or you're here, let me know, please. Because even finding this studio was again, God lined it up. But it was even searching for stuff, only 2 or 3 spots will come up. So again, if you know anywhere that doesn't cost an arm and a leg, hit your girl up. Because New Orleans, I feel like it's just so behind after especially going to college in Austin, Texas. You really see how big of a difference it is. So anyways, New Orleans does not have a lot of spaces like that. And she was saying that she thought it would be cool to make a space for that, for people to just record stuff, do different things. And I had never, this got me excited because I had been thinking when I got home, I'm like, oh, I wonder if there's any studios or something here. 1, so if it's at my family's business, and that's beautiful. 2, I had never share my idea of a podcast with anybody in my family except my mama from 2021. I told her since the go, and I shared the idea with 2 of my friends, because I'm very much that person who likes to keep it under wraps and keep it to myself until it's either damn near done or done. And then I like to share when it's really concrete and solidified, because surprise. So I only told my mom about this. I'm like, well, let me share my idea or vision with her of a podcast. And so I did, and I shared with her all my qualms and what intimidated me about it, or why I feel stuck. And she had told me, she said, Lex, just start somewhere, even if it's small. And I was like, yeah, no, totally right, because conceptually that sounds good. I was telling myself that too, just do something small. That sounds really nice and cute and fun and fuzzy. when you're not actually in it or when you're actually like trying to go forward with it. And so I was like, yeah, I know. Like, I tell myself that too all the time. And she then goes, well, even if you start with making videos and like sending it out to your friends or to warm up to the idea of like then maybe posting stuff on your story and then your Instagram and then you can like build it into a brand, or if it's just you going to like a studio, recording somewhere or whatever, like just, do something, like put some type of action behind it, right? And I was like, you're so real. Like, right. And I did, like, I recorded videos, practice videos and stuff, like introducing it to my friends, and it's sitting in my camera roll as we speak, never got sent to them. Because again, I like to keep things to myself and have it solidified before I share it. But this is the part that the second part, or not second part, second story I have is what really propelled me and got some fire lit under my cheeks, is when I was in my Belong group. If you know what a Belong group is, it's basically like a spiritual community for like whatever church that you're a part of, or just like spiritual community, whatever. And so I'm in the Belong group for Transformation Church, Transformation Nation. What's up? How y'all doing? If you're watching, and if anyone from my Belong group is watching, hello. I'm gonna give y'all like a code word to like text in the group chat so I can know y'all watched it. So text pickles when y'all see this. But I was in my Belong group a few weeks ago, the end of October, and one of the intro questions was like, we had a check-in question. And it was probably something like, oh, what's something that you feel like you are called to do, but you are like not really walking in. I don't know, something like that, right? Something deep to get the conversation started. And so one girl went before me and she talked about how she had, God put a book on her heart in 2021. And she has been like basically procrastinating on it, and she knows she needs to do it, and she still doesn't want to not be obedient because she doesn't know like how it can impact people, this, that, and the third. She like wants to do her part, right? And I was like, damn, that's exactly how I be feeling. And I felt very convicted to share and like be vocal and open with a group of people now about like my vision for a podcast. And still, again, like talking about all the feelings with it, because at the time I felt like I wasn't doing enough. I wasn't being persistent in my calling and what I knew I was supposed to do. I was doing the bare minimum or stuff that like seemed cute or seemed cool, but I had exhausted it. It was time to move on, right? And so I expressed that to them. I actually had God put a podcast on my heart in 2021 too, and I didn't do it. The same reasons I just told y'all, why I waited and everything. And by me literally just opening my mouth and flapping and yapping like I do best, 2 girls in there had already started a podcast, and they both reached out to me separately, or not separately. One verbally offered me communication, the other one like DM'd me on Zoom. They were like, I can help you, anything you need help with, here's some websites you can use, this, that, and the third, we can meet whenever you're ready. And I was like, oh, period, cool. And again, these girls and these people are such great, beautiful, wonderful souls. And so I was like, okay, like, yeah, let me get on my Zoom for real. By the next week, I had met with both of them, and I felt so motivated, and they made it feel so tangible for me to actually go and do it. Like what softwares they use, what resources they use, how they distribute it to all the different platforms, how they record it, what equipment they use. They made it so much more tangible than any of the research I had done and all the blog posts I had read. It felt like, oh my God, this is real. Like I can actually do this, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Because one thing they kept addressing with me, and I feel like they really knew to address it with me personally because of how I just even talked about it. But they were like, it's not going to be to your standard. Just accept that right now. It's not going to be how you want it from the jump. It's not going to be how you're visioning it in the long run, but you have to at least start, right? I was like, okay. Again, right, like one of those things that sound really good fundamentally, but actually enacting it is very scary. And so by the end of that week, I had downloaded softwares. I was practicing editing. I recorded myself like this little mic I had got a couple years ago to help manifest the dream. And I was like doing it with what I have. I was looking up TikToks galore on camera settings and how to edit like this and do this emphasis and all these things, right? And I had ever since that week, that was the last week of October because it was Halloween that week. So last week of October going into November and to now, I have been so motivated because of the community that supported me and encouraged me in that. It was insane how it was a flip in my system once I felt like it was actually I can grip it and like I can do it for real. Because yeah, again, I know I can do it for real. It's me. It's gonna get done. It's gonna happen. I just didn't know quite how. And so beating with them and having that community to support me, because then even other people in my B group gassed me so bad. Oh girl, absolutely you should do it, like I'll be the first. And they had told me previous weeks before from just me speaking in there and contributing or whatever, they'd be like, girl, you need to have a podcast, or like if you had a podcast I would totally listen. And I'd be like, little do y'all know that's confirming more of what I know I'm already supposed to be doing. And so shout out to Comfort and Ashley for real, for really putting me on this trajectory of being intentional and doing something about it and challenging me and holding me accountable, because they really have held me accountable these past few weeks. I've done more in 3 weeks than I have the last almost 3 years, because it's basically the end of the year. So thank y'all so much for that. I really do appreciate it. And it goes into how important your community is and who you have around you, because many of us have ideas, goals, plans, stuff that we want to do. You know, we always talk about the trip that's in the group chat that never make it out the group chat. We don't want to be like that. That's not how we want to be. Like, nobody wants to have all these ideas and dreams and then nothing comes to fruition. But I feel like what really keeps us in that place is feeling, one, stuck, not knowing what to do, or is also overwhelming that it paralyzes us. Two, not having the resources or maybe the accessibility, or again having the knowledge. Yeah, there's so many things that can just go into that as well, that again we'll get into at later times. And then 3, you're comfortable. And I was all of those things, so do not feel like you're alone in those feelings. I felt very overwhelmed and paralyzed and stuck because of all the information that I didn't know. And like I didn't, going into number 2, not having the resources or the access to things. My degree is social science down. My major is sociology. My minor was criminal justice pre-law. I am not no technology guru. I was not no marketing major. I do, like, the most I can do is a little edit on TikTok and CapCut and maybe post some pictures. This is not something that I'm privy to and knowledgeable in. And so it was very much overwhelming, because I'm like, the part that I can do well is obviously I can speak, I can communicate. I don't have a problem really talking in front of people. And I like to talk. That's not a problem. I'll yap all day. I'm fluent in Japanese. And that wasn't the issue that intimidated me. It was all the stuff behind the scenes to actually get it produced well. And then put my name on it, co-sign it, post it, and then be like, here you go, y'all, and deliver it to people. And having it be produced in a way that, again, was to my standard. And that's the part that hindered me so bad, because I'm like, I don't know the equipment. I don't know the technology behind it. I don't know how to do all the techie stuff. But I couldn't let that stop me, because I have something to deliver to people. And yeah, and I mean, and I was comfortable. Like I said, in college, I was cool. I was breezing. I had my schedule. I had my hands in a lot of things, doing a little bit of everything. And I got comfortable doing that because it's what I wanted to do. It fulfilled me. And even this summer, I got comfortable and was sleeping in. I was doing all this stuff that just, it wasn't fulfilling me. And I mean, also, frankly, over the summer, I was really depressed is what it was. Again, different story for a different day. But I was like, just kind of not having any structure. Literally these last 3 weeks, I've been waking up at like 7, 8 a.m., spending the whole day working on this because I had just felt so motivated to do it finally. And I love to sleep in. I love to just, peruse about my day and do stuff that I like. Like, I had to get uncomfortable, get outside my comfort zone and do something that what I know will be productive. I say all that to encourage y'all that if you feel any of those things, you feel stuck, you're comfortable, you don't even know where to start, whatever. I get that too. Like, you know how much easier it would be for me to sit here and talk about the stuff that I usually talk about, like social justice, because I'm a social justice, like that's my first passion, my first love, social justice girly down. You know how much easier it would be for me to just sit here and talk about that, what people expect of me, or to just ignore my call and go get a job, make my money, stack my money, and mind my business. But no, I have to be here being obedient and being vulnerable. And that's, if you don't know, that's extremely uncomfortable. Vulnerability is extremely uncomfortable, at least for me. And if it's something that you're very comfortable with, send me the name and number of your therapist, please and thank you. Because to me, frankly, it's nobody's business what I'm going through. But I'm here and I'm hoping in the facts of me being vulnerable and open and sharing, the deeper we get into this and bringing people on and having guests, that I can be a reflection and mirror what it means to being open and vulnerable and how it's okay. And again, impacting people because of it. And to me, the fruit of my labor and the fruit of that makes it all the while worth it. It makes it so worth it. And that's what will make it fulfilling to me. So I had to get my booty up and go do something about this for real. That's how I started where I'm at. And I'm where I am, which is here now, y'all watching. And if you don't know, I put a lot of pressure on myself and I have very high standards for myself. And that hindered me for years, months, not even in this. Like, this is one instance, the most relevant instance right now. But there's just so many things I waited because I wanted to be perfect. I wanted to know everything. I wanted the details of it. I wanted to be as prepared as I can. And there's only so much you can prepare for. There's certain things, once you get in it, you're just gonna learn. Like, it's gonna be natural. You're gonna figure it out. Like, I could have only read so many reviews on equipment and how to work things and how to edit, so many blog posts, so many websites, until I got in there myself and started clicking around and editing it and figuring out what this button do, what this word mean. Like, there's only so much you can actually know until you actually start enacting it and throwing yourself in there. Like, that's going to be your biggest teacher, is actually being in it and doing what you need to do. So I know I'm going to learn a lot from this, a lot that I did not know before, that I didn't read. I already did. Even talking to Comfort and Ashley, like, there was so much I had learned that I didn't read about, that I didn't find online. There's going to be certain things where you're waiting for you to just know to do. And there's only so much you can know that the internet, other people can teach you. Like, you have to experience stuff for yourself. And I'm very much going to be experiencing a lot of things with this by myself. And like, with no, like, just personal preferences, like, oh, maybe I like this type of mic better. Or, oh, I like the way this device records. Or I like this editing software. Like, basic things. If you're anything like that, I see you. I see you. We see each other. And do not let that hinder you. Do not let that put you, again, in the space of being paralyzed. Because that definitely also paralyzed me to the point where I kept doing what I knew to do, and it wasn't doing nothing for real. So I want to do my part, and I want to impact people. I do not want to rob anybody of my impact. I do not want to eliminate this space for people. And I have something to contribute. I have space to take up. I have dominion to claim. And you do too. We all do. So I want to encourage you in that and let you know that you don't have to have it all together. I'm really realistic. I'm in it with you right now, starting where I am. I don't have the equipment. Like, I'm here renting the studio. I don't have all the fancy stuff. This is, again, not mine. My phone, 7 years old. I get the iCloud full storage notification twice a day. We're in this, and I'm still challenging myself to take a step of faith and starting where I'm at, because if I waited till it was my standard, baby, y'all wouldn't have got this to like 2028, and Lord knows what could have happened by then. And what really motivated me was the idea and thinking that somebody else could do this and do it well, and then I come and it looks like I'm following them, or like they come and do it instead of me and take up the space that I was meant to take up. Oh, that made me so sick. That's like really what got me up off of my ass. Like, that idea just really for anything, it makes me sick to my stomach to think like somebody else could do what I had planned and the idea I had in my mind all this while, and then I just do it late. And again, nobody's gonna do it like you, but like, come on, I don't play that. I want to get it done, and I want to have it look authentic and genuine. That was me. That was my idea. Thank you. So, as I embark on this, I encourage you to do some digging of your own and see what you have to put out there that others need. What are you putting to the side that people can really benefit from and need? What are you forfeiting from others? What are you stealing from them that people need because you are not walking in what you're supposed to be doing, or what you feel called to, or what you know about yourself? And what purpose are you not walking in? What's holding you back? You remember that TikTok sound? That's what's holding you back, because the bill is due now, not later. Yeah, that's how I feel about this when it comes to this. But yeah, really, I want y'all to do digging and like reflect. What's holding you back? Is it fear? Is it trauma or a trigger? Is it insecurity? Like what's that root? Because once you get to know it for real and you can recognize it and name it, you gotta name it to claim it. So once you know and figure out the root and address it, not saying once you figure it out and address it, that's gonna make everything go away. It's not. It's continuous work and continuously choosing to acknowledge it but not let it hold you down. So I want to encourage y'all to think about that too. What do you know you're supposed to be doing? What do you want to do? What do you have a passion about? What is your calling that you may be putting to the side because you're any of the things I mentioned earlier, or maybe you're just really in a survival mode, a space where you can't do it, and that's okay too. And eventually I want to encourage you that you'll get to that point where things will maybe settle or be a little bit more manageable, or you'll have a better grip on things and you can have the space and the freedom, and your body can even allow you to do that, because that's a whole other thing of being stuck or being in freeze mode, is that your body like literally will not allow you to focus on anything else but what's prevalent. So that's a whole nother thing. But for those of you who want to challenge yourselves, I challenge you to that. And that's what I encourage you all today and want to leave you with is, what are you robbing others of by not pursuing what you're being called to? Or maybe you're already in the calling. Maybe you're like doing something and you're walking in it. You walking that thing out and you're actively in it as well. What's the call? Like, what is it? Let me know. Like, who are you on the phone with? Who's on the other line? Like, what's the calling? So you let me know, and I hope that can help you, and that this in some way can touch you, or somebody who it can touch. But that's it for the day. But before we leave, some things I want you to know, since this is the first episode, I want to be very clear about some things. Again, we'll establish ground rules and culture codes and all that on Instagram, and then more episodes to come, and y'all will get to again know me beyond the surface level superficial stuff as time goes on. But first and foremost, come here, look at me. Get my mic. Is a safe space and a respectful space for all. Many of you know, and I said it earlier, that my first baby, my first passion, my first love and most prevalent passion is social justice and anything related to diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice work, right? So naturally, that integrates itself into everything for me. That is a lens I just see the world and life through. It's connected to everything. Therefore, I do not tolerate any forms of hatred, bigotry, discrimination, exclusion, none of that. I will not tolerate it. This is an environment of love and grace. Period, point blank. So if you're not rocking with that, then maybe this is not the podcast for you. Secondly, I'm deeply unserious. Like, very, very goofy. I should probably get diagnosed. And I just want to warn y'all on that, because I also encourage other people to be deeply unserious with me. And there may be things I say, faces I make, jokes that are had that may be a tangent, one, or two, just maybe completely off the rails. And I just want to warn you about that and apologize in advance. Thirdly, I'm back. I'm back. Help. I'm black. Therefore, the N word is an accessory to me. It is not a cuss word to me. I realistically didn't even know other black people considered the N word a cuss word until I literally went to college and I used it so freely, and I would even use it like around adults and stuff, and people would be like, what the hell is wrong with you? And I'd be like, come on, is that not for us? No? Okay. But as a matter of fact, it's a term I use very casually and ubiquitously, universally. Anything and everything I will refer to as a nigga, just because it works. It fits. Everything, anything. So if that offends you, sorry. Lastly, and probably even most importantly, I'm spiritual. I have a deep relationship with God. I believe in God. But I am not religious by any means. Religion and relationship are two completely different things. I have a relationship with God. I believe in relationship over religion. If you don't believe the same thing as me, cool. It just so happens that my spirituality and what I believe in aligns with my faith. So things of grace, love, mercy, forgiveness, acceptance. Those things are core fundamental things to me, also align with my faith and can still provide wisdom even if you don't believe. So, cool, we all rockin'. But do not come at me with the church politics. You'll be escorted to the left. I won't have it. Yeah, no. Also, I am not here to preach or anything. I will be preaching, but not like preaching. But I will talk about God often because, again, that's just another lens of who I am. That's one of my identities. And I will give him the glory often because he deserves it. And a lot of the things that are good in my life are good because of him and the people that he's placed around me and the opportunities that he's laid out for me and the path that I'm walking along, like this one right now. So I just wanted to set those ground rules, and the people said amen. And I hope that wherever you're finding this episode, whenever you're listening, if you're on your way to work, if you chilling, if it's the middle of the night, if it's late, you taking a shower, whatever it is, I hope that we're able to get connected with this in some type of way, and that the next episodes and the more to come will be deeper and more layered. This is just a little intro. So yeah, hope y'all have a good week. Thank you so much for tuning in. I did it. I did it, y'all. That's so crazy. You will not break my soul. And perfect timing. Yeah. Deuces. I love y'all.